Haideți să mergem mai departe de data aceasta, invitând-o pe doamna Anna Larsson, directorul de dezvoltare de proiecte de economie circulară în Europa, reprezentanta Reloop Platform. Ana este specialistă în managementul sustenabil al deșeurilor, are o vastă experiență internațională în domeniul fracțiilor de colectare a deșeurilor menajere. Recent a devenit expert pentru UNDP pe domeniul sistemelor de depozitare și responsabilitatea extinsă a producătorilor. O invităm pe doamna Larsson să ne vorbească despre felul în care s-au implementat principiile economiei circulare prin sistemele de garanție-returnare pentru ambalajele de băuturi. Anna Larsson, you have the floor.
Good afternoon to Romania. Good afternoon from rainy and cold Sweden. I hope you can see my screen. Can I get some confirmation about that?
Yes, everything is well.
Perfect. Thank you. Today I will talk about how the deposit system fit into the circular economy principles. Circular economy, this is the term that is extremely popular nowadays. European Union is determined to implement circular economy principles and create the green economy. We know that it will bring a lot of opportunities for Europe in terms of structural development, economic development, but also in terms of the security of the supplies. We have seen now that we are very vulnerable when it comes to the supplies and the dependence on the global supplies. So today, I will talk about what's necessary for the circular economy. And of course, we have to collect a lot of materials, a lot of recyclables. Those recyclables have to be of very good quality. We need to create also the demand for the collected materials, secondary materials. We would like to, of course, have low carbon footprint and as much as possible local implementations. Proximity principle is extremely important. And all of that, of course, has to be cost efficient. So speaking about the collection rates, I will not go into the details here. You know that very well, what is expected from us. In terms of only plastic, 50% for the plastic packaging in 2025, for the plastic bottles, 77% by 2025, and how the deposit systems perform in terms of the collection rates. Well, here you can see the newest data from the existing deposit schemes in European countries, all of them exceeding 85%. And this is real amounts. This is the percentage of the calculated on unit basis of the amounts that are put to market. This is only the packaging without contamination, without liquids inside that. So I can say that, of course, the deposit systems fully comply with this strategy for maximized collection rates. Of course, no one expects that these collection rates will be achieved in the very first year of the system operation. Yeah, you have to give it a certain time and apply, as in the Scottish jurisdiction, step-by-step approach. So the 70, 80, 90 principle. What is also important in terms of the circular economy is the new measurement point, and that is not a well-known fact among the European countries and experts. We know that there is a new measurement calculation. It's not what is collected that matters. It is what is substrate to the recycling industry. And here on the screen, you can see the losses that will be expected, that are expected, and they are actually calculated. So it is two-digit numbers. And of course, it does not apply to the deposit systems, because almost everything that is collected is a very pure, high quality, and is dedicated for the material recycling. To talk about circular economy, we must not forget the demand for the collected recyclables. And here comes the recycled content. We know that by 2025, we need to have at least 25% of the recycled content in the PET bottles. By 2030, we will need at least 30% in all the bottles, not only PET. And we can say that today deposit systems provide for this recycled content not only 25%, but 80% is guaranteed. We know that in Scandinavia, it is also in Norway and Sweden possible on the local level. It is very important because it's not the Single-Use Plastic Directive requirement being 25% in 2025, but have a look at the pledges that industry has done. Some 100%. We really need the recyclate for the new bottles that will be produced. And the environmental impact, very positive impact on the recyclate is known. You will get the material, so you will be able to view the details. I would like to talk also a little bit about the eco-design. Yes, the circular economy is not possible without good quality packaging introduced to the market. So how does a deposit system apply the principle of the eco-design? Well, yes, now in Europe, we are talking about essential requirements. Those essential requirements will apply to all member states, all the producers. The new term has been phrased, essential requirements. Well, deposit systems have been doing that for decades. Essential requirements have been implemented by them. It is not possible to introduce to the market any packaging that is not good for the recycling processes, for the high quality material recycling. In Europe, now we are talking about modulated fees. Also a new thing will apply to the packaging waste. Again, deposit systems have been implementing that principle for decades. Here you see the example from Norway. The producer can still introduce to the market the packaging that is a little bit less preferable by the recycling industry, but then he has to pay a little bit more. And have a look at the post related to the light blue color here. Also, in terms of the circular economy, it is important to talk about the environmental performance and the carbon footprint. I'm not now going into the use of environmental fuel as we see in many deposit systems. This is obvious for everyone. But I would like to talk about the impact of the system itself compared to other collection methods like curbside or brink systems. We know there are studies, there are LCA studies performed. Here you see the example from Norway and Czech Republic that the deposit system reduces the carbon footprint by 30%. And this is mainly related to the fact that the citizen on his own goes or drives to the supermarket and brings his packaging back. Also, the savings in terms of the carbon footprint are related to the logistics. Plastic bottles collected and aluminum cans are compacted, and that saves a lot of the trucks on our roads. I mentioned also that the circular economy is a great principle, and we would like it very much to be cost efficient. So I would like to show you the comparison of the cost of the deposit system. Here you see in the first row the example from Norway, where the plastic packaging, the bottles, the cost of that for the producers is 2.8 NOK per kilogram. And down there in the other rows, you see the cost of the collection in other systems that are not deposit systems, that are either curbside or brink. They are all more expensive for the producers. And I would like to mention that this is before the intensification and before the litter cleanup costs that will also be imposed on the producers. Mr. McGilvray and Mr. Galadauskas have mentioned the cost structure in the deposit systems earlier. And I would like to say that the structure applied in Lithuania, in many European countries with deposit system, also the structure that will be applied in Scotland, is adopting the principle of net cost principle that is formulated in the Article 8A in the Framework Directive. So of course, producers will cover the cost of the system. They will take the organizational and financial responsibility. Here you see one of the cost element counting centers. Yes, of course, it's obvious this is the very important element of the system. But what is what should be taken into the consideration? What is this reflection related to the net cost principle? Well, yes, of course, incomes from sales of the secondary materials stay with the system operator, and that goes also for the unclaimed deposit fees. Deposit systems contribute to the circular economy. They can also close the loop, and there are beautiful examples of closing the loop of on the local level. I am proud to present the Swedish concept, also implemented for more than a decade in my country, where the system operator decided to make it easy for the market operators, market actors, and implemented the circular economy principles. He simply built the production hall, and to that hall he invited the recyclers, and he offered them stable supplies of the recyclables. In exchange for that, the recycler has to offer right of first refusal for the local producers. So now what's collected in Sweden, the bottles that we have used some months ago, is the substrate for the production of the new bottles. And that system is now also implemented in Norway. So the loop will be closed on the local level. Here on the left-hand side, you can see the bottle. I wanted actually to show it to you now, but my daughter has apparently taken that to the collection point to earn some money. The label on that bottle says, "Return me to the DRS collection point. I am made out of 100% recycled plastic produced in Sweden." That is possible because the circular economy principle is implemented. The perception of the deposit system by the consumers, we know from the data all over the world, over 80% of the population is in favor in the implementation of the system. But here in Sweden, I would like to highlight one fact. People are so much dedicated to the system. They know that this is the synonym of the secure recycling, that some producers, here you see the example of the juices. Juices are not obligatory in the deposit system, but producers change the packaging type into the plastic. Now, can you imagine when plastic is hated, avoided? They change to the plastic bottle because they know that customers will appreciate that these products are subject to the deposit system, because that means the security of the material recycling. So we have now seen that the performance of the deposit systems in terms of the circular economy is very good, perfect, fantastic. We have maximized collection, we have good quality material, we have provided recycled content, and that could even be, as we see from Scandinavian countries, supplied locally. There are low carbon footprint of the systems, and they are cost efficient. And I would like to mention also about the upcoming opportunities, also related to the...
Anna, please try to come to the end of your
presentation. It's second last slide. I would like to mention one opportunity, and that is related to the refillables. In all the countries where the systems, deposit systems for one-way are implemented, we know that the collection infrastructure is exactly the same. You see the pictures from Sweden, and we definitely see the opportunities for synergies with the refillable schemes. We know now beautiful examples like from Estonia, where the system operator also takes responsibility for the reusability principles at the festivals for his producers. You see the cups. We have also fantastic examples from cooperation between the two systems, like in Lithuania. You see the storage of the one-way containers and one-way system that are also open for the refillable bottles. And we know that the systems can, like in USA, can also take the responsibility for the supply of the refillable bottles to the market, which will be important because we know that the European Union is planning ambitious regulations with regards to the refillables. This is now really the last slide. I would like to congratulate Romania. Romania was one of the first countries in Europe, very ambitious on the 4 levels. First of all, in terms of the time frame, it is one of the earliest systems and the newest now in Southeastern Europe. The scope, material scope and the product scope is very ambitious. It is all the 3 typical fractions in the system, including glass, but also in terms of the products, the system includes the strong alcohol. Not many countries have had it so far, just Finland, Scotland has decided to have it, and Romania too. And the last point that I would like to mention is, of course, the ambitious and quoted, and we often use the example of Romania as the one of the ambitious countries who have implemented the quotas for the refillables. Thank you very much. That is now really the
Thank you, Anna. So as far as I can see, you have looked over the Romanian legislation draft put into the public debate. And the question is if you feel it, is it fitted to the European legislation standards, and is the deposit system fully implementing the circular economy principles in the Romanian legislation draft or not?
In June this year, we organized a webinar with regards to the European DRS legislation, and participants from the governments from many countries, including Romania, took part in this event. We were discussing the necessary elements of the deposit system legislation. Based on the 2 examples. One example was Lithuania, which is the newest implemented system in Europe, and Scotland. Because this is the newest, was by now, before Romania, the newest full legislation implemented. And we discussed the important elements of the deposit system. This is the system that is national, and it has impact on national level all over the country. Many stakeholders are affected by the deposit system legislation. Therefore, there is need to regulate a lot of elements of how the system would function. And of course, the crucial is the responsibilities with regards to the responsibility for the collection. It has to be clear who has the responsibility. As I understand, Romania has decided, like Scotland, to cover all the selling units. It is important in the legislation to define the responsibilities of the market actors, producers, distributors, and retailers with regards to the deposit value. It has to be clear who will initiate the deposit, and in the European jurisdictions, it is producers. They will pay the deposit value to the system operator, and later on this deposit value will be charged through the whole value chain. It is important to speak about and target implementation dates, and that was already formulated in 2018. Of course, it is of great importance to define the proper preconditions and guidelines for the marking of the beverage packaging subject to the deposit system. And last but not least, also we should, and I can see it is planned also in Romania, define the penalties. Otherwise, without the penalties, the law might be teethless.